Uhuru brothers and sisters, I want to welcome everyone to Uhuru Congo, which is an African Socialist International, that is to say the African People's Socialist Party internationally, program that's dedicated to news and analysis of the struggle of African people or our people on the Congo front of the African Revolution. My name is Omali Yeshitela, and I'm chairman of the African Socialist International. With us today, the co-host and primary force in this discussion is Comrade Luwezi Kinshasa, who is the Secretary General of the African Socialist International. I am speaking to you from St. Petersburg, Florida in the US. Comrade Luwezi is located in London, England. He is also someone who is Congolese born and plays an extremely important role from the African People's Socialist Party in helping to define the issues and struggles of our people in Congo. So Comrade Luwezi, welcome, and I think that there's a lot that we want to try and accomplish in the next less than an hour now, and I want to turn it over to you and just again welcome you, Uhuru.
Uhuru Chairman, thank you once again for the overview and for having me on the show. Very important development because every week there is a development of the situation in the Congo. We today we're going to begin with the split inside Lamuka. Lamuka is the alliance made of different political groups. The group of Fayulu, HCD, and the group of Moïse Katumbi, that's Ensemble, and the group of Jean-Pierre Bemba, that's MLC, and the group of Muzito, and of Matungulu. And also, the last one I think is Nyambusi. So all these leaders and their groups, they formed this alliance for elections on the 30th of December. And the question has been always, how long will this alliance last? Since the election, they have won, was not given to them. Instead, Joseph Kabila and Felix Tshisekedi came together to steal the election from them. And we know the African people is motivated by immediate gains, immediate success. They're not motivated by the long-term struggle to change our relationship with imperialism. So the question was always how long these elements of African people inside Lamuka will stay out of neo-colonial power. And we know now the organization known as UNAFEC, which is a French acronym, which is it presents itself as a federalist organization. Federalist basically means you're opposed to a central government, like what Lumumba wanted to do, and you agree with Moïse Chombe that you want a loose unity, so you can secede, you can do things like that. That's basically what it comes down to. And Kyungu Kumwanza is the leader of UNAFEC, and he is known as a tribalist leader in 1992, when it was clear that Mobutu was out of power, that he was his power basically was finishing. Mobutu worked with elements like Kyungu Kumwanza to whip up anti Kasai sentiment. When we say Kasai, people coming from Kasai province. like Felix Tshisekedi is from Kasai province. And those people in Katanga were attacked. Thousands were killed. 100,000 were expelled from Katanga province, chased like animals to Kasai province. And Kyungu wa Kumwanza played a critical role in that. So he's a criminal, basically, and with a clear record. So basically, they came out and say that the Lamuka does no longer serve the purpose. They went for elections. It was an electoral platform. Now it's against the presidential fact. So they should just, deal with that, and so that's basically is the first split. And then also someone from Moise Katumbi organization a couple of days ago announced also something similar, that Katumbi is getting a new passport from Congo's embassy, I think, in Belgium, so he shouldn't be going home. And he recognized also Felix Tshisekedi as a president. So they're not even pretending they're going to resist or fight for the truth to come out. So this is to inform people basically, Lamuka is not going to fight for the people. It's not going to mobilize the masses of people for the power of the people to be the basis for any politician, to go about their programs. No, just as business as usual. They're going to make alliances from the top, just like Felix Tshisekedi has done with Joseph Kabila. So that's just the first point we wanted to talk about. So, and
so it's I think it's important to mention that from our last discussion, the last two discussions that we've had, that part of the reason that's called on us to deal with this, to create the Uhuru Congo, is it's the outcome and the lead up to the elections that happened in Congo last of December of last year, and that where it was clear that the government of Kabila rigged the election, and which is not unusual for bourgeois elections any place in the world, and that it resulted in this man, Tshisekedi, ascending to the presidency that has been almost neutralized by Kabila, so that even though he is formally no longer the president, he and his party control the parliament and many of the other institutions associated with what we might call executive power. That the array of petty bourgeois forces were in motion, each of them intent upon capturing the presidency for their own bloc. And so how this thing is playing out is part of what we're talking about now. The different alliances and coalitions, some of them are clearly falling apart, and self-interest, narrow self-interest is informing their activity and their presence. I think that what we're looking at, of course, is an election, and like all elections under the bourgeoisie, it's designed as a non-violent contest. They hope all the time between sectors of the bourgeoisie and this interest, the petty bourgeoisie in Congo, to capture the power of the state through elections. And a big issue that we are aware of in the African People's Socialist Party, or the African Socialist International as its global manifestation, is the fact that none of the discussions up to now has really involved the masses of the African working class. Nobody has spoken for the working class or the poor peasantry or just the masses at large. It's the African petty bourgeoisie that has dominated this discussion and is fighting this battle for control of the state within structures that were created by the colonial powers, power itself. And that's what it is that we're looking at. And I think it's important to say that that the African People's Socialist Party, of course, is interested in the African working class coming to power through overturning the entire social system, and as a part of the revolution, the African revolution that has to occur, Congo being a part of that. Go ahead, comrade.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. That's absolutely true. That's the case. And if I might just remind people that Tshisekedi won the presidency with less than 50% of the population participating in elections due to the manipulation of Joseph Kabila. And he won something like 38% of the less than 50% of people went to the polls. But what is shocking, what is revolting people is that they want to change. So if they put Tshisekedi in power, our comes that the majority in the parliament is not in the hands of Tshisekedi, it's in the hands of the alliance created by Joseph Kabila. They have over 300 MPs, member of parliament, and Tshisekedi does not even make 60 MPs. So he cannot even have a prime minister because he needs to appoint a prime minister. And a prime minister comes from the party that has the majority in the parliament. So he doesn't have the majority in the parliament. Kabila has. So they claiming already victory in the parliament. And two, the elections were not just about the president and the MPs. It also was about the Senate, who will be the senators, who will be the governors. And Kabila also won there. Overwhelming, I don't have the figure in front of me, but the overwhelming number of governors will be Kabilas, which means the governors are like the military leaders of the provinces. So he will be in control of the territory. So, and also we already know he's still in control of a group called Banamura. Banamura is the army, like the Pretoria Guard of Joseph Kabila. He has no relinquished that, which is a violation of the constitution, by the way. And all the bodyguards, everything around Tshisekedi are just people appointed by Kabila. And that's also the circumstances of the status quo that's being maintained. So, Felix Tshisekedi made a lot of promises. One of the promises was...
Don't you think it's an exaggeration to say that Tshisekedi won the presidency, that he even won the percentage of votes that's been talked about, because all the evidence shows that that he did not win, that in fact he was somebody that could be appointed by Kabila to the presidency, or could rig the election to give him the presidency, precisely because he did not have the kind of mass base that could represent a serious threat, and he serves at the pleasure of Kabila. Kabila's parliament, Kabila's government, generally speaking, in terms of the provincial and other forces that came to power. So the Catholic Church, that seemed to play a major role in helping to mobilize people and exposing this, actually had 40,000 poll watchers, and they had already determined that the winner of the election was not Tshisekedi, and certainly was not Kabila's was Kabila's guy, but it was actually Fayulu, who himself is nothing but a neo-colonial force, but he was somebody that was independent of Kabila, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Fayulu himself, basically just the alliance he made is proven, how do you say, still neo-colonialist leaders. So from Moise to Muzito, Matungulu, Pemba, all of them. Yeah. They were definitely, still neo-colonialist leaders with a proven track record, reliable neo-colonialist puppet for imperialism, no doubt about that. Also, Tshisekedi with UDPS, from the time he made an alliance, he left Lamuka, because he was with Lamuka. He was with Fayulu when they went to Geneva. They made that deal. And 24 hours or late, he renegated the deal. But he made a deal with Kamere. There was no way Tshisekedi was going to win election with Kamere. But the smart move was made by Kabila to appoint Tshisekedi to steal the election, to appoint him as the president, because Tshisekedi had a base. And then that made it difficult for the people to rebel outright if Tshisekedi, if the guy from Kabila was appointed the president. Yeah. That was guaranteed that there will be a rebellion of a large scale, and we don't know where it's going to lead to. So these splits the people at the grassroots level. Some people say they should be loyal to Tshisekedi because they're from the same region, because it's from UDPS, because it's the son of the Tshisekedi. So these split the people. But I'm convinced as we progress, it became clear that Felix has betrayed. People believe, everything he said before at the election. They need to realize UDPS is just a neo-colonialist organization. They're in trouble because he won't be able to protect them for that long. And there's a lot of people. And as down in the agenda, we're going to talk about Musengo, who is the leader of the Catholic Church. He made a speech, a long quiet speech, on the first of elections in the Congo last week. So we're going to talk about that down the road.
Good. Okay, so Tshisekedi was just in Windhoek, in the capital of Namibia, used to be called Southwest Africa, and he was just talking about how he's going to give a human face to this organization, special organization of repression. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, these all the time, UDPS talks about the rule of law. The rule of law, as if the rule of law, excludes what the bourgeoisie and the police are doing when they're killing people. It's like the rule of law just means nobody's being arrested, everything is passive, peaceful, serious things like that. So he's being exposed now because they were pacifist. They oppose any, armed struggle or anything like that. But he has to lead the state now, and the state is neo-colonial state. It's a violent state. It's a genocidal state. And he makes promises that he's going to free all prisons. Basically, he didn't get too far from saying he's going to close down all the jails. He's going to close the free all prisoners. But since he's been there, he took charge on the 24th, I think, of January. Now, over a month is gone. And no one has been free from jail. And there are lots of political prisons. Even though demonstrators from last week, were arrested before being released. Even though people are being killed, like in the Eastern Congo, things like that. And the National Intelligence Agency, the structures, everything is the same. The same murderers who kill people, who kidnap people, who put people in private kind of jails. Nobody knows those houses are jails. No lists have been published. None of the major political prisoners have been released. I'm thinking of Ang Diongo. He's seen as honest Lumumbis. He's been in jail for a while. And he has not been released at all. And all the other political prisoners, neo-colonial leaders, like Jomin Dongala, he's in jail. Mwandan Semi, we don't even know if he's alive or not. Since he was arrested, they say he broke out of jail. But there's no evidence, since that day that he's alive or he's somewhere in prison. And he leads a large organization. We don't know anything about that. So And for him to come and say he's going to free all the political prisoners. And he said he needs time, people should be patient, you know, he will free them. When the only thing he has to do, you know, sign a right and they get those people freed. So this question of the relationship between Felix Tshisekedi and the state is a critical question, and not just to help our people to understand the nature of neo-colonial state and democracy. You can't separate the two. And also the role of African bourgeoisie has never been to end oppression of the people, but just to extend the oppression, to manage the oppression, because they have to lead, they have to run the country on a colonial basis, so they have to repress the people. They have to do all those things that will prevent the masses from organizing, from challenging the African bourgeoisie. In fact, one thing that's happening now, there have been a lot of strikes throughout the Congo, and it's another way to see how long the Tshisekedi and the African bourgeoisie and imperialism together will tolerate those demonstrations, because it's still new. So in the sense that people can demonstrate, and Felix Tshisekedi trying to get credit to say, see, and their demonstrations, they even showed Fayulu on TV, you know, criticizing Tshisekedi. He said, see, I'm doing things nobody's done before, even allowing Fayulu to be on the TV as leader of opposition and things like that. And we know how neocolonialism works. These are things, they can only become reality, permanent, if the African are working to organize and we change the balance of power. So we force the African bourgeoisie to do things over there against it, but they have no reason to oppose it, because it's a question of death and life for them, because the power of the African working class is growing, and we are not there in our place. So this is one area we will basically use to allow our people to understand our fight is for power, distraction from the colonial state, and replace it by a revolutionary neo-colonial state that will play a critical role in mobilizing Africans everywhere, so we can complete the struggle for African unity. So, yeah, I just wanted to...
Yeah, I think it's important, because effectively what we're looking at, when we talk about the neo-colonial state that now Felix Tshisekedi says that he represents, it's the same institution that actually killed and overthrew the government of Patrice Lumumba, killed him, and imposed this neo-colonial process on our people in Congo. I mean, Mulele died as a consequence of this same state apparatus, and that's the fundamental issue that we are confronted with, that these elections that they have do not attack the state, no matter what Tshisekedi is saying, that state apparatus is going to stay there, even if they give it, put lipstick on it. A pig with lipstick is a pig, and what they are attempting to do is put lipstick on a pig to make it look better, but the neo-colonial state will do the same thing. It will carry out the same mission. It will, the mission that resulted in the overthrow of the only actually fairly elected head of state in Congo, which was the one that was presided over by Patrice Lumumba. The institution that overthrew him is the institution that Tshisekedi now portends to be changing. And when it's the institution itself that has to be overturned, he's actually putting lipstick on the pig to say it's better now.
Definitely. And you know what, Chairman? This Felix Tshisekedi's dad, that's Etienne Tshisekedi, he was the Minister of Justice when Mobutu seized power in 1965. And also, a couple of months later, Mobutu, to consolidate his power in 1966, he organized a plot that would allow him to kill his rivals. So he arrested 4 key leaders who were opposed to him and hung them in 1966. And Tshisekedi's dad, Change Segedi was the Minister of Justice, and he justified it. And I think it's good for people to know that because, you know, he said he was pacifist, and so is his son too. Yeah. You know, he stopped him from hanging those guys in 1966. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is important. Yeah. So we're looking at now the whole neo-colonial counterinsurgency in Congo, and there's a video that you have provided that we're going to look at to help demonstrate that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a very important video, and yeah, it unites the counterinsurgency Africans are going through around the world. In African children in Brazil, African youth in the US, African youth in Jamaica, all these counterinsurgency, you know, people being killed and locked up. That's really possible. Really revealing.
Good. So let's go and take a look at that.
La police ne batwa ki babito sala matanga te za mitinde wuti na likolo. Donc totikala ko sala matanga te.
Entre mai et septembre de cette année, les policiers à Kinshasa, dans la capitale de la République démocratique du Congo, ont exécuté sommairement au moins 27 jeunes hommes et garçons qui ont été suspectés d'être membres des gangs criminels connus sous le nom de Kuluna. 7 autres ont été victimes des disparitions forcées.
Alors que Kuluna azaliwa na bozo monai. Azo sala pembeni ya bino. Aussi longtemps que le Kuluna existe, nous on ne sera pas tranquille. On est toujours sur leurs traces, on va les traquer jusqu'à leur dernier retranchement.
Des hommes cagoulés et armés sont arrivés tard la nuit dans les maisons de ces jeunes hommes et garçons qui ont été ciblés. Ils ont été amenés avec eux vers une destination inconnue où les jeunes ont été exécutés.
Babeti porte la police bo fongola. Tant to fongoli bao bazaki na tenue ya la police bamsu bazaki bango so baki kagoulé et puis bamsu bazalaki en tenue civile babimisi mona libanda. Biso tant to landa mwana totala bakoti na jeep à la police bake na mwana. Après jour moko toyoko mwana babwake ka pembeni ya quartier.
Le fait que ces cadavres ont été retrouvés dans le quartier, morts des fois avec les sexes coupés et d'autres signes de mutilation et d'étranglement, a semé la peur et la terreur dans le quartier. Parmi les victimes tuées dans cette opération, quelques-uns étaient peut-être des vrais membres de ces gangs criminels et peut-être ils ont participé dans des actes criminels. D'autres ont probablement été accusés sans avoir été vraiment membres de ces gangs criminels. D'autres qui ont été ciblés dans cette opération étaient suspectés par la police et les autorités d'être proches à l'opposition politique. On ne peut pas combattre la criminalité urbaine en commettant d'autres crimes, et les crimes les plus atroces en tuant ces jeunes hommes et ces garçons. Ce type de réaction renforce seulement la violence à Kinshasa et la continuation de ces crimes.
Uhuru. Yes, comrade.
Yes. Yes, this video, all these killings you saw, these just were before the elections, you know, a few months before the election. This is something that they do regularly. They call this operation, the counterinsurgency name for it is the coffee. The coffee is like a punch. Yeah. So that's in Ngara basically. And these they go in a poor working class neighborhoods and identify the leaders, and they have successfully criminalized those neighborhoods, the young people in those neighborhoods. They call them kuluna, to mean criminal and thieves and something like that. When in reality, we all know the criminals are the African leadership of the African petty bourgeoisie. That's loots and the kills and murders and rapes and all these things Congo is known for infamously. Put all the money abroad and things like that. So they have been targeting leaders in those areas, and they will kidnap them. They will come, masked, and kill them and dump them. I know I've been talking to people in Congo before elections, and they're saying there's a new phenomenon, bodies being dumped in the neighborhood, and usually it was somebody they knew who would disappear one day, and the following day or 2 days after, they dump them there, and this is a way of Kabila to intimidate the people. Should you dare to stand up when we steal the elections, this is what's going to happen. So a lot of killings are taking place. Not just in Kinshasa, it's just the image we have in Kinshasa, but throughout Congo, a lot of killings took place. And this really the African bourgeoisie. I know people, they romanticize now black men and women are in power, but it's a social force that is in total unity with parasitic capitalism, which requires them to maintain the masses of the people down, which means they have to implement a counterinsurgency. That's a war with our terms. And you see that in the Congo. You see that almost in every city now. There is some kind of counterinsurgency operation. You have all kind of drugs being dumped there, all kinds of alcohol with like over 60% content being available. You have a lot of things. Basically, it's being done to attack the people. And this is just one aspect of it. And we need to expose it, and we need to win the people to understand the counterinsurgency, to understand the African people leadership for neocolonialism itself is a key part of a counterinsurgency. And so that the election, are not a strategic domain of anybody who would colonize, is self-determination. That is a really key domain that we go fight to not just end foreign control, but we have to overthrow the African petit bourgeoisie. And if we go to election, it's just a tactical move, but we have to fight the African petit bourgeoisie, which is armed to the teeth. Don't be confused because one sector claims to be a pacifist. There is no such thing as a pacifist class struggle or pacifist state or pacifist police. It doesn't exist. And this is part of the work we need to do. So you saw these families, left to themselves, no movement organized around them, unless you've been recognized as a martyr. If you die on the scene of the battle, like there is a young man called Rosti Chimanga, he was killed in the church by Kabila police. So the people recognize him as a martyr. So the family of Chimanga got some support from the people, particularly outside Congo. People showed solidarity with those families when they recognize you as a martyr. But when you die like this, people just think you're a Kuluna, which means you're a criminal. They don't see that as a war against the people. This, neo-colonial state war against the people. African petit bourgeoisie war against the people. That's what it is.
Yeah, and they don't even see the relationship with this neo-colonial African petty bourgeoisie to imperial powers like the United States. And because as one aspect of the terror and the assault on our people in Congo that is, we can see militarily with the police state and what have you, but another aspect of it is not so easily and quickly recognized in Congo and in other places around the world. And one thing I'm talking about specifically is the role that's been played by imperialist powers in unleashing germ warfare against African people. And we have a video, I think, that we're going to show now that shows how the United States government is responsible for unleashing Ebola in Butembo in eastern Congo. Of course, eastern Congo has been an area that's experienced extreme violence, ongoing violence, unremitting violence, and I think it is, I don't remember if it's Uganda and Museveni or whether it's Kagame out of where am I thinking? Yeah, Rwanda. That's been most active there. But I know that Africans in Eastern Congo have been subjected and continues to be subjective even up to this point in extreme violence. And this advent of Ebola seems to be a continuation and perhaps even an escalation of that violence, and particularly since it's not attributed to the United States or any imperial power. It's not attributed to the neo-colonial state. It's just people will have the ability even to see it as an act of God or an act of nature or something to that effect. Can you, you have a video I think you want to show to, yeah. Uhuru.
Yeah, watch the video.
Let's go to the video then, see what we have.
This is all that's left of an Ebola treatment centre in the eastern Congolese town of Butembo. Armed attackers set fire to the building on Wednesday before engaging in a gun battle with security forces. 4 people with confirmed cases of the highly contagious virus fled the scene and are still missing.
We must not forget Ebola is a lethal disease, an extremely contagious illness. Entire families in North Kivu have been decimated. Entire villages in West Africa have disappeared because of the epidemic. So the health workers are here to avoid a big tragedy.
It was the second such attack this week. On Sunday, another treatment centre just a few kilometres away in Katwa was burned to the ground. The brother of a patient was killed as he tried to escape the blaze.
They
set fires to areas that were not for treatment, like the changing and utility rooms, which were burned down. In any case, the treatment centre is no longer operational.
This Ebola outbreak began last August and is the worst in the country's history. It's believed to have killed more than 550 people so far and infected about 300 others. Aid workers have faced what the World Health Organization's called a toxic mix of violence and community mistrust. The Health Ministry says foreign and local medical teams have been attacked on average 3 to 4 times a week, as armed groups vie for control of the region, which is rich in minerals.
This is the first time an Ebola outbreak has happened in such an unstable and insecure area like Eastern Congo. It's a challenge for us on a daily basis for all the teams who answer the call to fight against the epidemic.
The charity says its immediate focus is the safety of its patients and staff. But with its medical work suspended, it could affect the battle to stop the virus from spreading in Congo and across its borders. Alexia O'Brien, Al Jazeera.
That's potent. Do you want to say something about that, Comrade Luwezi?
This is the eastern part of Congo. This is where the concentration of the United States imperialism attacks have been for the last, 5 years, or even more, since the Ugandan army was allowed to attack Rwanda and to dislodge the power in Rwanda and replace it with the army of Kagame. Kagame left Rwanda as a part of the Ugandan army. And he fought alongside Museveni to dislodge our boat that was there. But that was the U.S. imperialism moving in that part of Africa.
Well, I think you have to say that Kagame was also trained by the United States and in the United States. I think that helps to make the point. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, yeah. It was Kagame and 100 of, officers that were prepared to take the leadership in Rwanda. They were trained in the U.S. And so U.S. provide arms and the training. So the British also were involved in that part of training. So they want power in Uganda, and then they want power in Rwanda, and they want power in the Congo. So they came with Laurent Desire Kabila in the Congo. So it was not that Laurent Desire Kabila came with them. No, they came with Laurent Desire Kabila. It was their program come to Congo. And that was basically the final objective of the United States. You begin to see that with Africa. It's an ongoing, continuous plan that has been developing for some time. And Congo was a strategic part of that program. And with that comes different aspects of the counterinsurgency. One, people have to know that area is where the coltan, the tin, the cassiterite, tungsten, all these key minerals are needed for the telephone cell phone and Xboxes, all these high-tech electronic gadgets or devices are concentrated. So it is a war to control those resources. And also, it's also a demographic war. The United States, in alliance with the state of Rwanda and Uganda to a certain extent, they are involved in a depopulation effort. You know, over 4 million people from Congo, particularly that area, is one of them that contributes a lot, live in the concentration camps. When Congo is already underpopulated, why in the hell you want to put people living in a underpopulated country in a concentration camps? And you also have, as a part of the candidacy, for Kabila to be in power, he has to accept to merge, so to speak, to form a new army. So the Kabila's army has hundreds and hundreds of officers from the Rwandan army, and they use the operation known as Amani. Amani means peace. Amani operation.
It means what?
And the Kimia operation. Peace. Amani in Swahili means peace. And they also call it, later on, they create another operation known as Kimia. Kimia also means peace, but this time in Lingala. So Amani and Kimia operations, and which allow the Rwandan army to send officers to be integrated in Congo's army. So as we're talking now, you have basically, this is not really secret. This is like well written about, and people recognize that on the ground we have all these army officers from the Rwandan army, and are being allowed to be in charge of the east and the Congo part, and now they're being extended to other places in the Congo. And that's part of the counter-tendency that Kagame had a say in what happens basically in the Congo. So the question is control of the mineral, demographic also control, and this facilitates the United States agenda. And people need to remember one of the places the imperialists were considering before the creation of the illegitimate state of Israel was Uganda and also Kivu. Kivu is next to Uganda. That's in the Congo. So they've been, this is what do you call it, underpopulation, this depopulation, and who is going to be taking this place there? And there is, at the moment, a transfer of population from Rwanda, from Tanzania, from other places in the Congo, in those places where people are being killed, also where people are being forced to be in a concentration camp. So there is a clear agenda by imperialism there, and facilitated by Kagame and his state, and also Museveni with his state. And the question for Ebola really underlined that, because the video you just watched, that was on 27th of February, just 4 days ago. And before that, there was another attack on the same area, same place, on the 24th. So you have two successive attacks on these medical facilities. We're not just talking about any disease. We're talking about Ebola, highly contagious. And you have UN Army, the MONUSCO, just a couple of 100 meters there. In fact, they're just there because they're the one in charge of that area too. So you've got 3 states there, the UN state, MONUSCO, that's it's known. You've got Kabila state, and you have armed groups which represent indirectly Ugandan army and the Rwandan army, therefore basically imperialist army. So imperialists have 3 kind of state in that region, and they can't protect that camp. And as a result, according to the statistics I received here, 2 patients confirmed dead, 12 patients. We can't find them. We don't know where they are. Can you imagine 12 people contaminated with Ebola? We don't know where they are. And destruction, all the material, all these high-tech equipment, destroyed, burned. And you can't do that to institutions run by imperialism without facing the wrath of imperialism. It will be in the media. It will be everywhere saying that these bandits, they're doing this to, something the white people are trying to save us. But you don't see nothing. You don't hear nothing. At least We're going to have time for in the future programs to come to go a bit in details what's going exactly in that region, so we can expose exactly the imperialist attacks in that area. So, and that's basically part of the thing that form the consciousness of a lot of people today in the Congo. But unfortunately, it's not done under the leadership of our party. So, and that's part of the struggle we need to make. Soros is there. He has backed up, he has created organization there. They are asking for peace, or rule of law, and things like that. You know, so it's a really, as you probably said, colonialism, class struggle is concentrating colonial question. You see that there in our parts of Africa.
Well, I think also that it's important, the next video is going to show us why, perhaps, you don't hear too much coming from the African petty bourgeoisie there, the neo-colonial forces in Congo, because they're not suffering the way the masses of our people are suffering there. In fact, I think the next video is designed to show how the petty bourgeoisie is enjoying itself in the middle of all of the suffering of our people. Can we go to that? We go to that now, Comrade Luwezi.
Yes.
Monsieur Kamere Loi Kanigine Vital, consentez-vous de prendre pour légitime épouse Mademoiselle Chateau Amida, ici présente? Oui, avec force.
And then I think that, do we go now to, yeah, 2 minutes for this, from the 6 and 8, yeah, okay, yeah.
You know what happened? Can you see he's breathing? Hey! This man died since Friday. Hey!
My God, my God, my God.
Yes, yes.
Somebody. He died since Friday. He was in a mortuary. This is the brother. And this is the landlord. And you, who are you? Family members?
It's the mother of the wife.
Come here. Wife. This is the wife.
Yes, this is the wife.
Come here. This is the wife. Okay. Romosete. Jesus. Celebrate Jesus.
We glorify.
Celebrate Jesus.
Jesus.
What is his name?
Jesus.
Elliot. Hello, Elliot. Elliot.
Jesus.
Lift your hands. Lift your hands.
My good God.
Barabasa tabasa. Zete.
Man is commanding life.
Rise up!
Come on!
Come on!
Hey! Rising up! Hey! Jesus!
Hey! So, Comrade Luwezi,
yes.
This is the African petty bourgeoisie, and yeah, the people they are responsible, the people they are responsible for killing, they stay there. Yeah. Go ahead, comment on that, Comrade Luwezi.
There's a lot of money being spent in the wedding of Kamere. Africa have no money, no clean water. You know, people can't go to school. 70% of our children don't go to school anymore. 70%. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
We work in the mines for the 83 years old, and Kamere has the audacity to have this wedding. $100,000 have been spent with his wife, and who loves definitely fame. because she was married to a leading Congo pop star before, and before that she was married to a young millionaire, diamond entrepreneur, so to speak. So now she's with Kameric, and she has an Indian origin, something like that. It's incredible. You know, if you see the whole video, just display of wealth. And Kabund, who is the secretary of UDP's organization, Sekedi, also got married just in a week apart between, I think something like that, between the wedding of Kabund. And the pastor you saw, Lukau, he is a Congo national in South Africa. He exposed the entire African petty bourgeoisie, including the South African so-called petty bourgeoisie too. Because they have locked up so many Africans, because they're so-called immigrants in South Africa.
Yeah.
But this guy is very criminal. You know, he takes money from the people every day, and he has so much wealth. You know, he does not hesitate to display that, and he's a crook like that. You know, and he's not in jail. You know, so it just so clearly we need to remove from power the African petty bourgeoisie. They need to go. And anyone who protects them, you know, is the enemy of the people. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Freedom is not a concern.
Yeah.
Freedom, no. Dignity of Africa, no. Unity of Africa, no. That's the least of the concern. They don't give a, Yeah.
But I also think it's important, you know, like the role of superstition and the role of idealism and what have you in keeping our people asleep and obscuring the real contradictions that we are confronted with, and this tool of religion, and it's extraordinary, and it plays especially upon impoverished people who have been kept ignorant of the real forces at work that's responsible for our conditions of existence. And so, you know, we can have some charlatan who says that he can raise somebody from the dead and get away with it, without somebody putting a gun to his head and saying, now raise all these other damn people who are dead. You know, you raise one person, that's the theory, that's the thing, the pretext that he does. It's just real charlatan, and it makes us really have to deepen our understanding of attacking idealism and helping people to acquire a materialist worldview, a materialist-based worldview. That, and of course, it's the African petty bourgeoisie and imperialism and the imperial white power that would promote a philosophical worldview that would obscure our reality. This idealism, it doesn't serve the revolution at all. And as you mentioned, one reason much of what we've seen can happen and they can get away with it is because the African People's Socialist Party is not effectively on the ground there in Congo as we should be. But it doesn't mean that contradictions are not being exposed, and we're a little over time now, but I think that it would be interesting to show the video showing that the Cardinal, Mosingwo, talking about Fayulu. Yes, the video?
No, there is no video.
There is no video, so why don't you go ahead and just comment on that? And you have about 2 minutes to work with.
Yeah, basically, he has retired now, but he was the leader of the African petty bourgeoisie, one of the key leaders, and also the leader of the Catholic Church. So basically, he made a long speech. He said that Fayulu won, and the Sekedi should have at least recognized that he did not win. And this basically shows our power struggle inside the African petty bourgeoisie continue to play, and I think this will not go away because it's quite known that Felix did not win. And we should be working hard to prevent anybody else to be the leader of the struggle for democracy in the Congo. He should be our party, should be the leader of that. That's how I see this guy positioning himself for the next round of battle for power in the Congo. So that's why we'll be doing this program. One of our intentions is to build a revolutionary party everywhere, and including in the Congo itself.
I think it's really important to call on people to come to the Uhuru Congo every week. We're going to be doing this weekly, and you can locate us and invite friends to come and participate, because the Congo is a critical part of the African revolution, and our brothers and sisters in Congo we should attack any attempt to be made to would isolate their understanding of our reality as just something that's located in that particular geographical terrain that's been created for us as so-called country and nation by imperialism. That the African people, the African working class, we don't have any country. Our country is one that we have to fight for and win. We have to build it. What we're looking at, we're looking at Africa as a territory of the African of the imperialists that's governed and facilitated by the African petty bourgeoisie, who will use every form of treachery in order to keep us out of power. So I think that's important. And I also want to use this to let people know that on May 26 and 27, there's an African Liberation Day mobilization that will be happening in the United States. And Comrade Luwezi Kinshasa, Secretary General of the African Socialist International, will be participating in that African Liberation Day 2 days that we'll be having in Washington, D.C., USA. And you can find out more information. I think that's ALD Uhuru, ALDUHURU.org. Comrade Luwezi, you have about 10 seconds. Go ahead and use them.
Well, just United, just the call you made. I want everyone to be there in May African Liberation Day. We're also mobilizing on this side to bring as many people as possible. And I know there is a Congolese community somewhere there in Washington D.C. I want them to be there, and those from Texas too, all over U.S. that should join the ALD. Thank you, Chairman.
Uhuru. Thank you so much, comrades, brothers and sisters. Thanks for tuning in to Uhuru Congo. We'll be here again next Sunday at that's 11 a.m. Eastern Time in the United States. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank Comrade Luwezi Kinshasa, the Secretary General of the African Socialist International. We have a revolution to win. We have an Africa to liberate and an African nation spread all around the world against our will to unite. Uhuru. We'll talk again next Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Uhuru.